The thing you want to be really aware of when going about doing your graphics is to make sure, and even coming up with, fictitious companies and things for your film, you want to make sure that you're far enough away from other brands and companies that there won't be any sort of intellectual property infringement or conflicts of interest, right? It's really important that we're clear on that, because that can end up giving us a lawsuit that, we don't want, because that's then more money we're spending on something because we didn't do our due diligence. When I was on Kevin Can Wait and handling all of our costume design clearances and making graphics for my department, in talking to the clearance, our clearance rep that we were talking with on the show, who I would send a photo of what it is that's the image in the graphic. You tell them it's for, I like to title the page with the show so it's very clear in case they send it to a brand. And then you get to actually put the scene and how it's being utilized on that, or who it's being utilized on, so that if there's any concerns that the brand might have or the artist might have, the clearance department can say, this is exactly how it's going to be used. Because most brands want to know, how are you going to be using our product if we're going to give you clearance? Some brands are not okay with you using, blood with their products. And that's definitely a thing with product placement. And some other companies are not okay with you associating their clothes with a specific kind of community, because they're trying to distance themselves from those communities. So we get to be aware of what that requirement is. And that's all a part of the usage of people's artwork and the usage of people's products in those agreements that we're making. We want to make sure that we are playing by the books. So make sure you have an attorney on board that you can talk to about this if you are choosing to do this on your own. If you have to hire an attorney, that's also an additional cost. And if you're not an attorney, I'd be very mindful of reading the agreements, because again, you can get yourself in some tricky water. So just make sure you know what to look for in the contracts and what to look for in the agreements to make sure you're good to go. Because nobody wants to be sued, because that affects our budgets. If you found this helpful and interesting and insightful, then I'd love to share my book with you, The Filmmaker's Guide to Budgeting for Costumes, Hair, Makeup, and Production Design. You can find more about this book at sarahkogan.com/book. I am really excited to share it with you. It's all about the ways to think about budgeting, what factors actually affect your budget, how to plan out those things to know how to maximize your resources, because really it's about what matters most in our film and what is the most important elements of our film, so that we can create something that's truly impactful and a part of our own creative aesthetic style. Because the reason to know about our budgets and get really clear on the factors is it allows us to make the priorities within our budget of where the money should go, from a place of, this is what matters in my film. This is what I like to call the storytelling language we are using to make this film happen. And because of that, because I know what that creative vision is, I can then go and create the film that I'm truly dreaming of and visioning with the resources that I have. Instead of laying out a blanket budget, not knowing what that is going to actually give us, and then realizing that we put money in one department that maybe would have been better served in another. So we can only know that when we know what we want in our films, what matters the most, and how to think about what things cost. Because when we know what things cost and we understand how to think of them, we can make the decisions to really support our budget and our creative vision. If you found this helpful, again, please check out my book, The Filmmaker's Guide to Budgeting for Costumes, Hair, Makeup, and Production Design. I'm excited to hear what you think about it. The link for my book is right below in those show notes, right there. And if you found this helpful, subscribe to my channel. I'm making more and more videos like this every day. Keep sharing your stories and filming your dreams.